This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance. It keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Fan.
Welcome back, Friday Football Feast. Paul Charchian in for PA. Dave, you may not know, out with scabies. We're hoping for a quick recovery.
What is scabies?
I've heard chigger-like mites that get under the skin in moist areas.
Ew.
Yeah. We're hoping for a quick recovery.
Yeah, I would
we'll
say
see.
so.
Yeah, it's I think there's a lot of ointment involved, as I understand the treatment
that would make
protocols.
Sense. Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. So we got away from Wolves for a little bit, but want to come back in the zone tomorrow, 8 to 10.
Yes,
It'll be
sir.
an epic show.
Yes,
Trent will be there.
Won't be a lot of positivity, but yes, we will. We'll be there.
On the scale of Oklahoma's just a team of destiny, and we just happen to be in the way, versus self-imposed wounds. Where are the Timberwolves right now? Because it feels like Oklahoma City is just awesome. That they are at an entirely different level, that they are by far the best of the four teams left standing, and that the Wolves are just kind of a speed bump right now.
Yeah, and heading into the series, in light of what happened in the Denver series, wow, Denver pushed them to 7? I mean, it gave, I think, the Wolves, the team, and the fans. Me too. Like, my brain, heading into the series, my brain said Thunder in 7. My heart said Wolves in 6.
Same.
I just, you look at that team, and the Wolves did play well against them during the season, and they didn't have Randall or Gobert in most of those games. So, like many people, I thought, well, man, we weren't even full. Well, found out we're better without those guys against that team. Because if you want to try to slow them down, you've got to run multiple people at SGA, and if you got those bigs on the floor, you're hard pressed to do it. I think they are substantially a cut above everybody else. I mean, they're a 68-win team. They won more double-digit games, I think, than any team in history. You can't even play this team close. So, yes, that's a very good team that's completely healthy, that's confident, and that defends at a level that you just don't see in the NBA.
So give me some historic perspective, because I'm not a basketball historian. I'm just a guy who tunes into Wolves games.
Yeah.
Give me a sense of historically, how good is this defense? Because they seem like I got to go back to Bill Laimbeer and the Pistons here. I mean, how good is this Oklahoma City defense?
Yeah, it's as good a defense as I can remember watching because they're all connected and they're really well coached and they've got so much athletic ability. They can run, from Lou Dort to the guys off the bench, Caruso and Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean, Wallace is 21. He played a year at Kentucky. I think he's going to be an all-star, and he's just a bench guy that right now, until they have to make some serious decisions, pay their guys, and maybe Dort walks away, and suddenly Wallace is going to get his money and a chance to play. They're just 8-9 deep of really talented guys that defend at a level. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a team in recent vintage that I would compare them to. And
it's hard to, right?
Yeah, they got the two bigs. Hartenstein isn't as skilled offensively, obviously, as Holmgren, but he's more.
But he's great in that system, and man, is he a moose!
Well, and yes, and the Wolves, they went to that zone in the third quarter, and it was such a flop. It was almost like desperation time. We don't know how to stop them. We're going to see if a zone mixes them up, and then Hartenstein just gets in that middle and just throws that little floater up, or Caruso. And they're the easiest baskets you can imagine. So the Wolves have to go back to the drawing board. And I do think you're going to see more small ball against this team. Even though they've got two bigs, the Wolves have a really hard time defending this team and defending SGA with Gobert and Randall on the floor. And you could tell, I thought, in the first 2 minutes last night that Randall just didn't have his game. Forget missing a couple shots. He looked slow. He just looked like he was confused. And what a turnaround from the first half of game one where he was like the superstar.
Well, and the previous two series.
Correct. But even, he had 20 points in the first half of game one.
Yeah.
Where would this team be without Julius Randle? We found out because he wasn't the same Julius Randle the second half and the team collapsed. Third quarters, whatever's happening at halftime, Oklahoma City is making the adjustments and the Wolves are flailing. Now, I've worked with Double T for over 30 years. And one of his favorite cliches, I'm sure you guys have uttered it already this morning, series does not start until a home team loses a game.
That's right.
Technically this series has not started yet.
But this is a must-win on Saturday.
You have to win both. You have to win both.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go back to OKC 2-2, and then the pressure's back on them. Losers of two straight. It's a best of three. The Wolves are going to have to win one at home, and they know that winning a game 5 is probably easier than a game 7. So if this is to be a series, the Wolves have to win both games. I've seen very little to give me any sense of comfortability that they can win one, let alone two right now.
I'll tell you what I saw that I liked. First half, you had in the first game, the pace was all Thunder pace. It was all fast breaks up and down the court. We're trailing behind them on every play. What I liked in the first half is how much we forced Oklahoma City into half-court sets and slowed the tempo down, and I thought that ultimately helped us, and that's why it was very close at half until things went upside down in the final moments of the second quarter. I liked that part of it, and that gave me a glimmer of hope that we can slow down the relentless attacking speed that Oklahoma City brings, all the fast break points and everything else. They had some of that, but not nearly as much, I thought, in the first half.
Yeah, they only scored 40 points in the first half.
Right.
And that is the recipe. And that was the big concern for me, and I think for a lot of Wolves fans heading into the series, was all the turnovers this team had committed in the first two series.
Yes.
They were good enough, and the teams they were playing weren't good enough to take full advantage. You knew the Thunder is a team that feasts off your turnovers, and you're right. They get into the open court, and they get easy baskets, and we've saw that the first couple of games now. And, the Wolves didn't have one fast break point in game one. 0. That's
ridiculous.
That's hard to do in 48 minutes of basketball. I think there were some encouraging signs in the fourth quarter. I thought Ant was terrific. I thought he made every single right decision. He's hitting open players that aren't making shots. Nas was so effective against this team during the regular season. He averaged 27, I think, a game against the Thunder. He can't buy a shot right now. It's just so frustrating because you knew teams have X factors in series, and Jaden McDaniels tends to be the X factor for this team. As he goes, the team goes. Nas felt like the S factor in this series because you figured he was going to need to play a lot because you can't go real big against them. You got to have athletic guys. And so when Nas is nowhere near himself, you have no chance. There's no offense beyond Ant, and Ant can't find his outside shot right now. It's all bad through two games.
It is.
And it can change on a dime. They can come in here tomorrow night. the place is going to be jumping, and they might take him to the woodshed. Now it's 2-1. Everything can change, but they have to figure a way to slow down SGA and throw bodies at him and just dare the other guys to beat him, because he gets whatever he wants right now. He's a very gifted offensive player. I understand we're all frustrated by how he draws contact and falls as if he's been shot and all that. But take all that away. He didn't do much of that last night.
No.
He got into his spot, and the Wolves had nothing for him. First half of that first game, he was like 2 for 11 or something, 2 for 9. You knew
that wouldn't last.
No, of course not. But you have to make things as difficult as possible for him. And as it worked during the season, those 3 games, we played them in February over like a 10-day span. They kind of figured out a way by blitzing him with multiple guys and making him make quick decisions and daring Dort and some of those other guys to shoot. And I think that's the only way you can beat him.
Well, the thing for me, though, is that SGA, if I'm ranking the list of things that, are putting the team down 0-2, obviously the MVP plays a part in that. But while it shouldn't, don't you feel that the front, like we saw Jaden McDaniels just shoving SGA last night, that the emotional element kind of bleeds into other aspects of the game, kind of this helpless, like we can't do anything about that. I feel like we've been incredibly undisciplined where SGA is going to get his, but we're not handling what's around him in several aspects that are playing into these 2 losses. I mean, if SGA is going to score 35 a game, we saw it in the regular season, he had games of 40, 39, 36, something like that, that's going to happen sometimes because he's really, really good. But we can't have the Jalen Williams night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I thought this team had shown some growth, the emotional growth of not getting inside your own head and not letting a team throw you off your game. And the Thunder's doing that to them. We saw Ant throw the ball at SGA in game 1 when he was frustrated. We saw, as you said, Jaden last night. This is not a young team. OKC's the young team.
Yeah.
OKC's the team that's never
more
been
disciplined
to this point. 100% more disciplined.
Yes.
And this team gets into its own head when things are going its way. It's I don't know how you just turn that around either, like in a day. Like, all right, now we're back home. We're more comfortable. Need to see a lot more maturity from this team. And you got to be able to take their punch, and it's coming. They're going to have their runs. How many times last night it was like a 5 or 6 point game, and then the Wolves would close to 1 or take the lead by 1. Then they'd score 8 straight.
Right.
And these little runs, and you just have to stop that. And then third quarter, I mean, whatever is going on at halftime, right? Everybody's making adjustments. The Wolves have been so good this year about making adjustments at halftime. And the third quarter is what's killed them now in both games. They've given up 35. They've lost by 14 points in both third quarters. And you're not going to beat a team like that when that happens.
The Thunder relentlessly attack the ball. They are always in motion. They are always buzzing. They never give up on plays. And then there's the Wolves. And you feel like, by comparison, the Wolves look slow, discombobulated, and disinterested. I got one team that is just busting their asses on every play, making every step difficult for the Wolves. And the Wolves don't do that. And it just, I hate to talk about intangibles like this, but it just feels like one team wants it more than the other team and is willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah, I can't.
Is that unfair?
No, I think that's what I see. I see a team that, look, how many offensive rebounds have the Thunder gotten? Finally, you play good defense for 20 seconds, you force a shot, which they miss, and then you give up the offensive rebound, and they're going to score the next time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say this team wants it more. How's that even possible, right?
Right.
Especially with a Wolves team that has a couple guys that are getting on the other side. We know Conley's nearing the end.
Right.
Gobert's nearing the end.
Yep.
Some might say it's time,
I know.
after watching the offensive struggles. But he's still obviously an important defensive player. But yeah, that's what I think Wolves fans have the hardest time digesting or admitting, is that other team is playing on a whole different speed, a whole different level, and does seem to want it more. And you never want your team to be on the other side of that, because that's just, we want it as so much that we want the team to want it as much as we do. Why wouldn't they? How couldn't they? But it feels that way after 2 games.
Rudy is defensively. Rudy, I need him to have an 18. I need him to have an 18 rebound game. I need him to be a factor offensive, defensive rebounds. I need him to be getting offensive rebounds and taking those easy slam dunks that he can do. How many times has he gotten a hand on a ball and not come up with a rebound? So many. It's just,
he goes up with one hand. Now, if you follow social media, and I don't know if there's truth to it or not, but he's dealing with some personal issues, family issues.
Okay.
And if that's true, I could see how his head might not be totally in the game right now. I think he and his girlfriend are having issues. That might have just ended. And again, that's social media. I don't have any confirmation, but it's all over social media. That Splitsville kind of just went down in the last week.
And he's got a little baby in the mix too.
And one on the way. They have one on the way. And so if, we're sorry about all that. And if that's what he's going through, we can all understand why your head might not be totally in it. But as you start grasping for what's going on, that's been niggling in my head. Like, if he's been dealing with that the last week, how do you just turn that off and play basketball? And a multi-year relationship is something he's dealing with.
All right. How about this? Again, this is a social media thing.
Yeah.
To try to explain what's happened to Nas. Has Nas already decided he's not going to be a Timberwolf next year? And he's checked out. He's got a player option on his deal, is my understanding.
Yep.
And he probably wants to be a starting player, and he probably wants to have 32 minutes a night. And, the things that we can't give him here, has he already checked out on this team?
I don't think so for a number of reasons. One, if you are trying to cash in the ultimate payday, what you're showing on tape right now is going to be under consideration. And if he's a no-show, that people are going to have question marks too. By all accounts, he, Ant, and McDaniels are the three amigos. Like, these guys are incredibly tight. Mm-hmm. My understanding is he would like nothing more than to continue on here. I mean, it's not like he's not getting minutes. He's still a very valuable member of this team. And he's going to get paid if he decides to stay here, he's going to be paid like a starter. So, and I still think Nas will be back on this team next season. I'm not dismissing what you're saying, because there's a possibility that he's saying, look, I think I've shown I could be a starter. I can make $40 million somewhere, but I don't think he can. You don't know all of the details like I do as far as cap availability by teams. Like, who's got money to spend?
Complicated.
There are very few good teams with any kind of money to pay Naz Reid this offseason. Like the Brooklyn Nets could pay him.
Yeah.
He's from there. Maybe he wants to just go home and play in Brooklyn, but he's not going to be a winner. And I do think he is connected with this team. So I don't know that.
And who has people getting Nas Reid tattoos, Charch?
Exactly.
A lot of people getting.
Now we got people. We got people doing it here, not in Brooklyn.
I mean, Nas Reid is a verb. Nas Reid is an idea.
It's 2 words, man.
Yeah. Well, Nas Reid is also 0 for 12 from 3 in this series.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and it's just. There is no possibility this team can beat OKC 4 times if Nas Reid is not contributing offensively. No chance.
I'm going to try to get us a little bit back on our clock. Always, I'm always way off.
Your trailer story was riveting, and it went over the cross.
I did, which you're not supposed to do. I broke one of the cardinal rules.
You're a short timer.
Exactly. What are they going to do to me now? Let's talk more Wolves and just a little bit of Packers stuff for you when we come back. More with Dave Sinykin when we return.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com also want to give you a chance to win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword Bills. Might pay some, you win $1,000 with some bonus bucks. Go to KFAN.com, use the key.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Keyword bills.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Richie here from Fridley. Just riding around the old big green tractor. Anyways, the Wolves, what they need to do to win is they need to get rid of Rudy Gobert. He is literally trash. He can't catch the ball. He can't hold on to the ball. He can't shoot. He can't shoot a free throw. All he can do is dunk, and sometimes he even misses that. So that's what I would do. Paul Allen, sorry you got scabies. Hope you get better soon.
I like scabies. It's, we laugh at scabies. Nobody wants scabies. I can tell you that much.
Sounds like something you'd get in the 1800s. Like, it just doesn't sound like a modern affliction. I'd never hear
I just love the casual, thoughtful way at the end.
Yeah.
Paul
By the way.
Scabies. Hope you get better soon.
Hope you get better soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Scabies. All right, I got a litany of other items for you from the game last night.
I got 11:25 at Baker, so let's just keep things moving.
Let's keep this thing moving. All right, great. Dante DiVincenzo, minus 27 last night, minus 20 on Tuesday night. When we benched Randall, it was so he can stay on the court longer. What are we doing here? And how do you put him back on the court? The only thing I think he provides is hustle, and God bless him for trying. Nothing else about his game is working right now, Dave.
I'm old enough to remember last year's playoffs where he was the second best player on the Knicks. He was outstanding in the playoffs, and I was so excited for playoff Dante because I remember what a gnat he was, just on both ends of the court for the Knicks when they didn't have Randall last year and they were shorthanded, so he was put in the starting lineup, and he was fantastic. He's going through something right now because, he's got no confidence offensively. He's always going to play hard. He's always going to give you all of his effort. But, the turnovers, he had a couple turnovers that were just killers.
Just little stuff, night. Stepping on the baseline.
Yeah, stepping on the baseline. Like yeah.
And one where he tries to throw it inside to Randall, and it's just way beyond these self-inflicted injuries. And Dante's been one of a number of players that have delivered these for these first two games. You just knew that the margin for error against this team is slim. And those kind of plays, as fans, they stick with you. You just go, how do you stand? I mean, I think Ant stepped on the line last night, too. Just unforced errors against a team that won 68 games that's playing, loose and carefree and healthy and young. And, this is a team that's going to be a problem for a long time because, they've got, as a treasure trove of draft picks.
Right?
If they decide, you know what, this is a great championship team we got, let's just add Giannis. They could do that without even blinking.
Isn't that a staggering thought?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a team that's not going anywhere for a long time. And we're going to have to figure them out. And I thought we did during the season. We played them so well, but clearly right now it feels like men among boys.
All right, let's go to Julius Randle. I feel like 1A, 1B between him and Ant is playoff MVP for the Timberwolves. He's so pivotal, and he had done so many things so well. Offense, defense, passing, so many things were clicking.
And Randle was 1A for me. Ant was B.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. 6 points, 2 for 11 shooting, 0 made threes for Julius Randle, and benched in the fourth quarter, as we mentioned. He dominated Draymond Green last series. I thought, and when the individual match, Green, when the series was over, was effusive in his praise for Randle.
Said that, and once a few years ago, Pascal Siakam. Those are the two guys that were the hardest for me to play in the playoffs. Were Randle and Siakam a few years earlier. Yeah, he was outstanding. It was such a different Randle last night. Honestly, I was sitting with my son Jackson a minute or two into the game saying, Randle doesn't look like he's even there, like mentally, like he was slow. He even talked about it after the game, like he wasn't, as quick to his decisions and being in spots he was supposed to be. It was so visible early. Yes, he missed a shot or two, but more than that, he just wasn't in the right spots. He wasn't getting rebounds. It was just head scratching. Like, how do you go from 2 nights ago in the first half? You look like an MVP candidate with 20 points in the first half. They couldn't stop you. And ever since that halftime, he's just looked like the Knicks player that all the Knicks fans couldn't wait to run out of town. It's mind-boggling.
Let's. I do want to get to a couple of Packer things for you, but first,
yeah.
Something you'd rather talk about probably here.
Probably.
That end of half sequence at the end of the second quarter was just a backbreaker, and you'd hoped it wouldn't matter, but it really did. The Thunder hit a three. The Wolves have got like 5 seconds, but they go down. They commit an illegal screen. Dante. Thunder get the ball, draw a foul, shoot 2. And now the Wolves went into that sequence with a lead, I think, and came out of it.
No, they were down.
Oh, that was what was? I'm trying to remember what the scoring.
It was
they were down
tied at 45. Late in the half.
They went on a 5. They ended up, so it was 56-50 after the late bucket. Then they get the Dante DiVincenzo, the offensive foul, the screen. Where I think, I don't want to say it was minimal, but he was a Dort that he kind of laid out a little bit, extended his arms, and then you get the 2 free throws, and then it's 58-50 at the break.
And then and I'm thinking to myself, well, they get the ball to start the third quarter. So now suddenly, because of that play, instead of maybe cutting it to 5 or 6, now it could be 10 or 11. And the Wolves got a steal. Remember, to start the third quarter, they get a turnover.
Yep.
And Naz throws up was it Naz? I feel like Naz was starting. Maybe it was somebody else. They throw up a 3 that clanks off the left of the basket, and OKC goes down and scores. And it was just a microcosm of every time they have a chance to maybe start something, they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, it was Randle with that 3.
Randle, thank you. Yeah, because Naz wouldn't be starting. Yeah, the sequence at the end of the half, we've seen that throughout the season where they've gone through those little end of half. They're in their head, and you just allowed a team to either get back in the game or make it much more difficult. And I don't know what that is, but it's not anything that we haven't seen before. And again, in a night like that, you can't afford that. They had a chance to go into that locker room after all that, down maybe 3-4 points. Instead, you give them the momentum. They're up 8. They're going to get the ball. Yeah, it's very frustrating. I really, like most fans, I really thought they were going to get a split in OKC.
I did too.
I did too. I thought they'd win game 1.
They'd scrap their way to one victory.
Yeah, and I thought game 1 was the more winnable one because they were coming off 7 games. And
it was.
But I just don't know that this team handles 6 days off very well.
That's the thing. Last night, towards the end of the first half, and even that sequence included, you're down 8 at the break. There were some aspects of it where, okay, the 3-pointers were looking more like this normal team. There were some aspects at half where I'm trying to sell myself, and I'm like, in some ways, it's almost like they're in as good a spot as they were when they were leading at half in game 1. Game 1's the one that they needed to win. And the lopsided scoreline, things got weird. They started chucking late, and a 10-point deficit became 26 by the end of it. But game 1 was the game that's where they early stages needed to make a 6-point lead, 12, 14, find one of those runs that could mitigate whatever happened in the third quarter. I think game one, if we do look back at both now, recency bias included, I think game one's the one that you really kick yourself. And it's like, could you just have made a handful more of those threes and get just a modicum, just a little speck of contribution from the bench? And we're coming back. We're licking our wounds off a game 2 loss, but being split. Man, this feels like an absolute mountain to climb with Charch's RV.
Well, for me, the most remarkable stat through 2 games is that the Wolves are a -60 when Mike Conley is not on the court. I mean, think about that. Because some might say, Conley may not be able to play this series because, who's he going to guard?
And by the way, his plus-minus isn't coming from points. It's got to be defense.
Yeah, it's just the team is settled down and they're in their offense and they're more in control when Mike's been on the court. And kudos to him. But man, oh man, what an indictment on everybody else that is not lifting their play. And again, Nah finished the game with a really good fourth quarter, but he was really bad the first 3 quarters. The bench just has not done what we expected or needed them to do. And again, OKC has just held serve. They won their first 2 games, so it's not over. But the optics and what we've watched, it's like, really? Is this team going to tomorrow night come back and take this team out? It's hard to believe, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Can you do that, Cindy, where it's like, well, a team, I think they lost, and I don't know what the stat is. I don't have it in front of me. Like 5 games at home the whole year.
Yeah.
So winning in OKC is as tough as it possibly gets in terms of road venues. Can you sell yourself on that at all, Cindy, where it's like, okay, comfy confines, Target Center, that is the toughest place to win in the NBA, and we just, and Denver didn't fare so well at OKC in the previous series, but they dominated in the Mile High, pushing it to 7. Can you play that game a little bit in terms of we can get 2 at home here and kind of reset this thing?
Yeah, I think you can. I know Trent's going to help me through that tomorrow because he's been through it. I know it's happened to him. His teams have been down 0-2 and come back and handle things. Bottom line is you went into the series knowing you had to win 1 game in OKC. Yeah. And, okay, you've played 2 of the 4, so you still have 2 shots at them. But obviously, you cannot lose a home game. Like you must win your 3 home games, and it starts tomorrow. And to beat this team twice now in 3 days after what we've witnessed, it's a gargantuan effort because it's going to mean, Randall's going to have to get his head straight. Nas is going to have to look like himself. I mean, everything has to line up. So we can talk ourselves into, win your home games and still win in OKC. It's still possible. But until you see them do it once, like maybe tomorrow night, it's hard to believe we're going to see it happen.
All right. One quickie on, I know we're behind the clock again, but one quickie on the Packers. Your team put 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks into the offense this year.
Yeah.
And when I texted you before the draft and I said, who do you think they'll take? And you said, I hope Matthew Golden is there. And you got Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
So do you believe that he is going to be a solution at wide receiver that these 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys that you've been trying to get elevated play out of but haven't? You think Matthew Golden is going to be the difference maker and somebody that finally emerges as the Packers' legitimate number 1 that you have not been able to manufacture out of the guys you've got?
Yeah, it's hard to say with wide receivers, right? Because the first round wide receivers are a 50-50 proposition. Obviously, the guys that the Vikings have taken have been great. And the 23rd pick, as he was, Addison was 23, Brian Thomas was 23, and now Golden. So that's been a good number the last few years.
You can get quality players there.
The reason I was high on him was just watching how he exploded as the season went on in Texas. He always made the tough catch. In the biggest moments, he was the guy they went to, and he wasn't the number 1 receiver on that team to start the season. So he just elevated his play, and you hear his story about how good he was at Houston when he actually had a quarterback. Quarterback at Texas was a problem last year. So the fact that he was as productive without a great quarterback, I think gives a lot of hope to the Packers organization. Do I know he's going to be the number 1? No. But he's a 4.29 guy with great hands. He's got all the elements you want in a receiver. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but when people say he's too short because he's like 5'11", he's the exact same size as Tyreek Hill. So I'm not too worried about the lack of size there. I think there's a really good opportunity. The Packers needed speed in their offense. With Christian Watson out for most of the season, they don't have another receiver that can stretch the field, that can make defenses pay attention. Golden can provide that. So I think if nothing else, he's going to give that element of speed that's going to open things up for the 2 tight end looks they want to run. Obviously, Jacobs gets Marshawn Lloyd, who last year was the second running back drafted and missed the entire season except one game. He's back in the offense. They've got a lot of weapons. It's not all about who's that number one. I don't think he's going to be a fantasy stud necessarily in year one because there are a lot of mouths to feed, but he does provide an element to this offense they did not have. And then adding Savion Williams from TCU, kind of a Cordero Patterson, Deebo Samuel type guy that played Wildcat quarterback for TCU and ran the ball as much as he caught it, gives the offense a fun, gadgety guy that could do a lot of different things. And
they had that in Jaden Reed.
No, but he's like 6'4".
Yeah.
I mean, he's
build.
A way different build.
Yeah.
And he's much tougher to bring down. I mean, he's Deebo-like. Like, he's a big, strong guy. If you watch his highlights, like, go to YouTube and just watch Savion Williams, you go, oh, my God, this guy's fun. I don't know how much he'll play, but he's just kind of a fun little piece they added surprisingly in the third round. The biggest takeaway from the Packers this offseason is they're trying to beat Philly. They want to get bigger, like the Vikes, bigger and more physical up front. And they add Aaron Banks, the guard from San Francisco, who's like 330 pounds. They draft this 6'6", 330-pound guard from NC State and backed it in the second round. They're looking to get more physical up front. Their offensive line is going to look way different this year. They're deeper, they're bigger, and if they're better, then the Green Bay's offense will be better.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
In the zone, 8 to 10
8 to 10
tomorrow.
correct.
Trent Tucker. Yeah.
Yes, we will be here.
We'll look forward to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Safe move. Will I see you again? When are you heading out?
You'll see me around fantasy draft season. I'll be back.
Good.
Yeah, coming back to go to some fantasy drafts in person, like Scott Fish's home league and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And I might even go to the fair.
Oh, you have to. You can't just give that up.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. We'll have some more Wolves talk with Alan Horton at the top of the...
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Please stay. It's actually not PA on the fan. PA out today. Paul Charchian with you.
And we've covered that in detail. Everyone knows.
Yeah, we have.
The issue. Podcastable, free iHeartRadio app later as to the ailment that is currently afflicting the host.
Yeah. Yep. We're hoping for a quick recovery. My understanding is not as severe as the time he had the Africanized killer bee sting.
Yeah.
From several years ago. That one was tricky for PA.
Well, he was on an IV for a while. There was, I think, a transfusion, in fact. So that was a little dicier than just a little penicillin and an ointment that'll take care of this current situation.
Correct.
So, but he battles on. He's the host.
And that's what he does.
Absolutely. He's a fighter.
So I've got this I've got this new house in Virgin, Utah. Virgin is the name of the city. I mentioned this to you before we went on air. Virgin has less than 1,000 people in it. It's right outside Zion National Park. Firearm ownership required of its citizenry.
That's unbelievable.
Yes.
So it's a city ordinance.
City ordinance. You must own a firearm. Now, I don't know if they go door to door and make people produce their firearm, which sounds odd, but I don't know. How do they know officially if you've got it? But I know this. When I first met my neighbor, and I'm chatting with Brad, my next door neighbor. Get that. Oh, by the way, get this. Meet my next door neighbor, Brad. Really excited. He's from North Carolina. He's got a little bit of a drawl. He's now living in Virgin, next door. Die-hard Packer fan.
Oh, come on. You can't escape it.
Come on. I'm 1,500 miles away. I got to live next to a Packer fan. And he's raising his kids to be Packer fans.
You drove halfway across the country to find a view, to find some sort of, this is in some ways your oasis. And you went into a ton of detail just 4 weeks ago about what this meant to you, the hills that you had to climb to make this decision and all of that. You show up, and
Brad's
the guy's wearing a cheese head.
It's awful. It's awful. What did I do to deserve that? Really, really bummed out about that part of the whole process. But
did he give you a lowdown then on the firearm ordinance? Did he explain it? Will they go door to door?
He did. He did not tell me about the door to door, but he did tell me, what kind of gun do you have? Well, I don't own a gun. Almost, people in Minnesota, it's not common for people to be gun owners, I don't think. And he's like, no, everybody here's got a gun. In fact, it's codified into Virgin law that you have to have a gun. You got to be a gun owner. Now, I've never really felt compelled to own a gun, but I'm curious about it. And the first thing Brad neighbor says is, well, we got to go out shooting.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
You got to go to the range.
Right. And apparently there's ranges, and I assume there are places outdoors where you go or indoor. I don't know. Is a range indoor or outdoor? When I say range, it could be either one, right?
Yeah, either one.
Or either one, right? So in Utah, I got to believe it's going to be outdoors. But
it all depends on where you are, because you need space. That's the impediment to outdoor ranges here in Minnesota. There are several nice ones.
Yeah,
but for the most part, if you're thinking about long range, you're training for hunting and things, and which you're really looking
avid hunter.
You're an avid hunter.
Yes.
And so, but in a lot of ranges in Minnesota, at least that I'm aware of, 200 yards, 300 yards, you get to maybe a place in Utah, Texas, some other places you can shoot out to 800, 900, beyond. But most ranges that, most people would be familiar with will be that indoor range, somewhere between 25 and 50 to 75 yards, and a lot of pistols and things like that. Yeah.
I got to figure out what to buy.
You got to go to the range.
So do I go to the range, try different? Do they have, when you go to the range, do they have guns you can try there? You buy the ammo, they provide the gun. Does it work that way, or do you have to bring your own gun? Can I try guns?
Yeah. So first of all, you're going to have to get over this Vikings-Packers thing.
I know.
And you're going to have to lean on Brad.
It's a good reason to be armed because I do have a Packer fan next door.
So Brad brought this up. How many minutes had you been discussing just life and everything with Brad before he asked what kind of gun you have?
I'll tell you exactly how this goes down. So,
because this will tell me how helpful Brad's going to be in this equation.
We're chatting for like 15, 20 minutes about the neighborhood and, getting the lay of the land a little bit. And out strolls his kid in a Packer jersey.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, and the wheels start, I'm going, no way can I be in Virgin, Utah. Packer fan, other kids come strolling out, Packer jersey. No.
So, then the transition from that, because there was clear animus and there was a situation. So what kind of gun you got?
Yeah, right. And then we immediately went to gunplay.
So what you can do arrange, like you've heard me talk about Modern Sportsmen before. They're down in Burnsville. You can become a member of the range, or if you I want to try out a weapon, or you can rent firearms there as well. Okay. There's typically a cost associated with that because they're keeping and maintaining and keeping those things ready to go. So you would pay whatever the small nominal fee is for that lane. Then you could rent a firearm. And then you would buy any ammunition you use out there. Absolutely. Right. So what you got to do is you got to go with Brad, and whether it's whatever range that is, rent or try a firearm. Brad sounds like Brad's got like more than one.
I think he does.
Brad probably,
I think he has a small arsenal.
He might have the old lever action on the porch, but he's probably got some sort of a safe. And maybe that has more than one, less than $1 million, but who's asking?
Right.
So Brad's going to be your asset here. I would suggest personally, at some point, maybe invest in some firearm training.
I think that seems like a prudent idea, since I don't know anything about owning or caring for or firing safely a gun.
Yeah, so training's going to help you understand how the firearm works. I mean, it's going to feel very rudimentary in some moments, but I think it's invaluable.
Okay,
you're gonna go through that. Brad's going to help you with that as well. So, and he could tell you and probably explain to you. Brad could not only what he thinks of Jordan Love, but here's how a striker-fired pistol works versus a revolver.
Yeah.
Here are the animals that I see most frequently. That ain't going to stop a bear, but this will. He's going to be able to talk to you about those things. In the end, that range time, finding something that you are really comfortable with, something that you understand, I think is an absolute A topic. And then eventually, once you do that, it might take a couple of trips, get some know-how and such, but eventually, you're going to, based on something you rent, based on something you like, based on something that feels right, something that you know how to operate, something that, above all else, you can feel confident but safe with, then you're going to buy one, man. And then you just got to decide.
How do I even know if it feels right? I don't know. I mean, I don't, there's so many options. I know nothing. I feel like, and I don't even know what my use case is in Virgin. I don't think I don't have to worry about a bear. I don't think they have bears in the desert.
Well, and statistically, if it's a law that everyone
must own a gun,
not a lot of crime in that town.
There's probably not.
Probably not a lot of crime.
So I probably don't have a home defense angle on this. I don't know.
But I think that through Brad and through a little bit of range time, because you don't go from 0 to 60 here. But you'll find, I mean, you're going to hear a lot of brand names that, this one's the best right out of the box. It's point and shoot. It's easy. But that's why I was asking about animals and things like that. Talk to Brad about it.
Yeah.
Talk to Brad. I mean, are you potentially going to carry this weapon with you? Well, that would be more in the handgun area. Are you interested in maybe just having a shotgun from a defense standpoint, or maybe a hunting aspect? Would you like a rifle, adding some utility there? I mean, the options are endless. Therefore, you're going to have to lean on a guy like Brad and other people in your life that know a little bit about it. But first things first, get safe and find something that feels comfortable, something that makes sense to you, and something you can use.
I might loop back to this after we talk to Alan Horton. He's coming up momentarily, the voice of the Timberwolves. If you've got advice for me as a zero-time gun owner who now has a legal requirement to buy a gun, I would be interested in hearing what you have to say. The Bradshaw and Bryant text line would be an option. That's 646-886. We have talkbacks. If you use the iHeartRadio app, you could email booth@KFAN.com. I'm over my skis here. I openly acknowledge that. I've got a lot of questions. If you've got answers, I am curious about what I need to do next. And then we'll transition to Timberwolves next. Alan Horton, as I mentioned, coming up in moments.
Okay, have you heard about this? Last year, Degree changed the formula for their Cool Rush deodorant. Their fans rebelled and wanted the old scent back. And Degree listened. That doesn't happen often.
They admitted that they effed up and are bringing the original Cool Rush scent back. And it's exactly how you remember it. Cool, crisp, and fresh. There's a reason it's the #1 men's antiperspirant, and it's back in Walmart, Target, and other stores for under $4.
So try it and see what the fuss is about. Head to your local stores to try the OG Cool Rush for yourself.
Do you own a business that's ready to thrive? It's time to let Intuit QuickBooks take things like unpaid invoices and tracking expenses off your plate so you can take things to the next level. Intuit QuickBooks is an all-in-one business platform that can help with those day-to-day tasks like invoicing and expenses. Manage and grow your business all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks, your way to money. Money movement services are provided by Intuit Payments, Inc., licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
Does Friendly have a taste? If it does, it's probably like Hello's peppermint-flavored anti-plaque and whitening toothpaste. Brush away plaque, show tartar who's boss, and remove surface stains to naturally whiten. Hello's thoughtful and flavor-forward products make brushing your teeth feel like a confetti-filled bathroom dance party. So say hello to Hello with the always cruelty-free, never-tested-on-animals toothpaste that's made to spread smiles. Visit HelloProducts.com and let Hello add some everyday yay into your life.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.